Greetings, my dear friends. Welcome to yet another Reading Epic Threads live stream. I'm your host, Patrick Gunnels, joining you from the suburbs of Northwest Houston, Texas, this January 6th, 2022, 8:03 p.m. Central Standard Time. And guys, I've got a special guest for you today. Last week we met with Milam Langella, primary opponent to the odious and treacherous Dan Crenshaw. And I am very gratified to say that Crenshaw is being challenged by not one, not two, but three primary candidates. Warms my heart to know that the people of Texas's second congressional district are not a fan of the one-eyed fraud. And today I would like to introduce you to Jameson Ellis, who is a self-employed small business owner, public speaker, and family man. Like many hardworking Texans, his faith in Jesus Christ has always seen him through every obstacle. As a lifelong Texan and a resident of Conroe, Jameson comes from a first responder and military family, so he has witnessed firsthand the hardships and sacrifices made by those who serve and protect. Believing that God gave him a specific set of gifts, talents, and abilities, Jameson teamed up with a police officer to start a nonprofit called the Bridge the Blue, where he's fighting to bridge the gap between law enforcement and community. Jameson and his wife of 13 years, Donna, attend Hope City, where they serve as Connect Group coaches and have helped dozens of couples strengthen both their faith and their marriages. Together, they started One Nation Project, a charity whose heartbeat is to unite people through missions and education to preserve our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. After watching our government leaders sit on their hands as law enforcement across America fell victim to countless attacks in 2020, Jameson had had enough. Jameson proudly stands behind President Trump's Save America agenda and will work tirelessly to make sure we have a limited federal Republican form of government that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. I'd like to introduce you all to Jameson Ellis. Jameson, how are you?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful, and I just want to say thank you so much, Patrick, for having me on today. It's definitely an honor and a privilege, and I'm excited.
It's my pleasure to have you on the show, sir. I listened to what do you call it on Twitch when you do the interview show, the Twitch stream. Anyway, it was a Twitch stream last night with you and Aaron Sorrells. Great stream. So guys, I also had Aaron Sorrells on the show. A wonderful guy running for lieutenant governor of Texas. Today, we're going to talk to Jameson about why he's running against Dan Crenshaw in particular. I see 2020 in your bio. You said that's what kind of told you had to run. Why U.S. Congress?
Yeah, so I actually love telling this story because when I listen to a lot of people, whenever they say why they're running, they feel like it's something they have to do, and they say it's not something I really want to do, but I just feel like I have to. And my story isn't really like that. So May 25th, and it's a significant date for two reasons. One is it's my birthday, but May 25th of 2020 specifically is the day that the George Floyd incident happened. And over the next 60 days, we saw over 500 declared riots and over 2,000 law enforcement officers that were injured in the line of duty in 60 days. And, you just kind of read that on my bio, but, our government leaders didn't do a dadgum thing. They sat on their butts. Some actually instigated even more violence. Mm-hmm. And without going into too much detail, basically what I felt like God was showing me is it's what's going on with all the riots, with BLM and with all that stuff. It's a symptom of a much deeper issue. And so fast forward a couple of weeks after I felt like God had shared that with me, I got a Facebook message from a gal out of Wichita Falls. I didn't know who she was. And within that 2-week period, I had kind of felt like I needed to do more. I wanted to do more. I didn't know what it looked like. And so the kind of thought kind of came to me, well, run for office. And Congress is actually what popped up. And I'm like, okay, I'm not really a politician. I don't look like a politician. I don't dress like a politician. I don't act like a politician. But then 2 weeks later, I get this random message from this gal out of Wichita Falls. I don't really know her. She doesn't know me. At the time, I don't even think we were friends on Facebook. And she says, hey, I want to share something with you. I had a dream about you last night. And I'm sitting here thinking, was it a nightmare? I hope it was good, right? But she said, you know, God showed me you in Congress, and it was very vivid. And she said, you haven't even told anybody. And she's right. I didn't. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell anybody. I kept it to myself. And so whenever she shared that with me, it was confirmation, but it's also a little scary. So that night, I actually told my wife, Donna, what had happened. And so we kind of put that on the back burner, said, okay, God, we're going to trust you for the next step. So then we started One Nation Project. So on top of Bridge the Blue, we started One Nation Project, and we started taking food, prayer, and hygiene packs to the homeless communities of Houston. And that's what we had been focusing on up until March or April, whenever my buddy John reached out to me and said, hey, did you hear that Kevin Brady is not going to be running for re-election? Now, Kevin Brady's Congressional District 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lived in Spring. I now live in Conroe. Both are in Congressional District 8. And so whenever he told me that, I was like, okay, this kind of gut feeling, if you will, it's your time. That's what I heard. And so I told John, I was like, I think I'm going to run. And he's like, are you serious? And I was like, well, let me think about that, because I want to really count the cost of what I'm about to do. Because the fact of the matter is, Patrick, is I'm not a perfect man. I have a past. And lately, it seems like the trolls have been coming out of the woodworks trying to bring up my past, all of which I've been very transparent about and have talked about for the last 3 or 4 years openly. Anyways,
is that anything you want to get into here? I don't care one way or the other.
Sure, I don't mind. This would be a perfect opportunity to do that.
Just boil it down real quick to what people are going to try to gig you with, because
so what they're going to try to get me with is the fact that I do have an arrest record. Now, when I say arrest record, before people go, so when I was young and dumb and in my 20s and broke, didn't really know that I needed to pay my bills, right? I'd rather just go out and have fun and party and whatnot. I got some traffic tickets, never paid them, had a warrant out for my arrest, didn't, never showed up, right?
That's your past?
Yeah, well, no, that's part of it.
Okay.
So then my license gets suspended, and so I'm going to drive anyway, right? So I got arrested a couple of times for driving with a suspended license. I got arrested once for driving without insurance. And so these are the types of things that they're bringing up, right? Something else that they're bringing up is they're bringing up my voting record. And I think this is also important. My voting record, I've only ever voted. I voted 4 times, but really only 3 times if you go back and look at the history. So I voted in 2020, but my vote didn't count. I lived in Harris County. That's when I lived in Spring. Yeah. So my vote didn't count. But whenever you look at my record, and when you log into like the Republican Party of Texas website, look at my voting record, not only am I shown voting 3 times, but they also don't have an accurate phone number on me. And my wife, by the way, has a Louisiana number, and it says she's black, and my wife is white. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. But I do want to
just tell me, is this the stuff that people are trying to mess with you about?
Yeah,
that's pretty stupid. I would just ignore that.
There's a little bit more. So there was a 14-minute video that I did. I guess it was about 2 years ago now. So I started a group called Hope Dealers, and and being a Christian, I believe that we serve a God that looks at the pain of our past, that he forgives us of our past, but he uses that pain and can transform it into a purpose. And the Bible says that we overcome the works of the enemy by 2 things. One is the blood of the Lamb. The second is the word of our testimony. And I've been through a lot in my life. One of the things that I had been through was I've been separated from my wife on 2 different occasions. And in this video, I'm talking about how whenever you've gone through some of the things that I've been through, and we all have a story, right? So if there's anybody that's actually watching this, I know you have a story. We all have one. And I was homeless for 6 months, lived in my car. My 20s were actually really rough, besides the arrest warrants. And so there's a lot of baggage that I brought into my marriage. And so as a result, we separated twice. And I talked about some of the things that I had done throughout the years. And so it was a 14-minute video. And they decided to take I saw one was like 36 seconds, another one was like 42, then one was like 13 or 14 seconds, and they're plastering that all over social media, taking it completely out of context. Me being vulnerable and transparent, which, by the way, because I'm so vulnerable and because I'm so transparent, I don't have anything to hide. There's nothing that the swamp can use against me. I'm a real human being, fallible, just like everybody else. It's just fed up with what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and I want to say there was one other thing besides those. I don't quite. Oh, my failed businesses. Yeah, so I've
Okay.
failed in
Yeah.
a couple of businesses as
Yeah.
well.
So
And so,
haven't we all? Okay.
yeah.
So you're a saint compared to me. So let's just go ahead and, I mean, God, I whatever, dude, you're fine. So I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that you're embarrassed about those things because I don't want to talk about my life. All right. So anyway,
I'm not embarrassed about them at all.
all right,
I look
good,
at I look
good.
at my past struggles as my strengths. That's where I draw my strength from.
Well, I don't
So
think you have. I mean, well, okay. So are you, have you gotten us committed to any horrible, endless wars? That I would hold against you. Or
no, that would be Dan Crenshaw.
are you a Freemason by any chance?
Not at
Yeah,
all.
okay, no, okay. So no, these are the things that we would hold against you. So, all right, that's out of the way. Fantastic. One of the things I think that the audience probably wants to know is that you just received an endorsement from Seth Keshel, and that's kind of nice because he is
Yes,
definitely a fearsome patriot in our movement, and
it was an honor.
yeah, an absolute warrior for election integrity. So if you could just name the issues that you would attack Crenshaw on, how would you go? What would be the biggest one for you?
Oh man. Well, the biggest one, it seems like for everybody else, seems to be red flag laws, which is a big one. Um, the the biggest one for me probably right now is just the fact that he did not support Trump. So literally a year ago, he votes against impeaching Trump, but right after he praises Liz Cheney for her role in spearing
Little
the
demon, yeah.
that impeachment process. Um, and then in August, he's actually it was Bobby Piton that actually captured this on video. He is at a fundraiser, a GOP fundraiser, and he's being asked about fraud. And he basically, in a nutshell, I'm going to paraphrase it. He says, "Was there some fraud? Sure, but enough that Trump lost the election illegitimately? Absolutely not. And if you
Like he
believe
knows.
that, you're kidding yourself."
What a scumbag. Just, I think he said that because he was surrounded by donors and those people wanted to hear that from him. Also, he shaved his beard and he really needs to never do that because he looks even more unimpressive when he shaves his beard. And third, in that video, I think it was revealed just how short he really is. Here's another thing. Here's another thing about Crenshaw. It's the fact that when Donald Trump vetoed the National Defense Authorization Act, he was one of the Republicans, one of the many, many Republicans who voted to override that veto, showing just how owned he is by the military-industrial complex. And it's just a deeply troubling thing to deal with.
Well, and really quick, one of the things I want to make sure that I get to, because this is going to be a question, is I didn't set out in this race to primary Dan Crenshaw. So I'm sure there's probably people asking, well, if you started out in Congressional District 8, why'd you make the switch? So there was actually another candidate in this race who tends to be focusing more on me than on Crenshaw for some reason. It is what it is. But they are questioning my allegiance to the district. And they're basically saying,
okay. What does allegiance to the district mean?
That's a great question, right? So my allegiance is actually to the Constitution and my principles. And in principle, I believe that a congressman or a candidate should run to represent the district in which they live. So after the gerrymandering went on and the districts were finalized, I find myself in the part of Conroe that I live in. I found myself in Congressional District 2, no longer in Congressional District 8. So if I'm going to be a man of integrity and stick to my word and be a man of principle, then I could either move into Congressional District 8 or I could stay in my house and choose to run in Congressional District 2. And so that's what we did. We stayed in our house.
He's attacking you for being the victim of gerrymandering?
Yeah, he's basically says I switched priorities.
All right. In other words,
not priorities. Okay. I switched. What's the word I'm looking for here? I'm having a brain fart. But yeah, basically he's saying that I am no longer committed. I'm switching commitments. And that's the thing is I didn't switch commitments. I didn't switch the districts. The districts actually switched me. Okay. So I want to make sure that I point that out.
It was just gerrymandered. Hell, I don't know what district I'm in. I don't know how to find out because I want to know. I was in District 2, but has that changed? I mean, is there any way to find out? Because I sure can't figure it. I went to the Secretary of State's website. Dan Crenshaw is my representative now, so
Yeah. Does everybody know what website they can go to check out what district they now live in?
I don't.
I'm going to send it to you.
Please, are you gonna send it by email?
I was going to put it in that private chat there.
That works too. If I can figure out how to find private chats. Ah, got it. Yeah, you can private chat me, I guess.
Because I think your listeners would really enjoy knowing about this as well.
Bro, I'm so angry if I'm not in Crenshaw's district anymore because I really want to contribute to removing him from Congress. All right, copy link address, right? Okay, good. Let's do this thing. All right. Hold for processing.
Just so that you know, that if it seems a little unorganized here, so I've got two screens split. So my camera is right here, and I've got you on this screen. So
Texas redistricting map A. Okay, let's look at this. So Texas has new political maps. Enter your address. So I guess I'm not going to do that in front of everybody. But anyway, okay. So that is the website is apps. Oh, it's quite a long address. So I'm going to copy it and put it in here for anybody in Texas. You can check your district now, because I went to the Secretary of State's website, and according to it, I'm still with Crenshaw. So I'll check that out on my own time, I guess. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty bummed out about this redistricting crap.
Well, the funny thing is that the redistricting, the gerrymandering that went on is really designed to protect rhinos. And I don't know for sure, but I have it on good authority that Crenshaw had a hand in what these districts looked like. What's funny about this is that Congressional District 2, as it sits right now, is more conservative today than it was 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, the Democrats that are in Harris County, what he's also not taking into consideration is that they were Trump voters. And so once they find out and it's revealed that he didn't support Trump, because a lot of people don't know that, right? Most people aren't paying that close attention. More people are today than a year ago. And actually, it was a year ago that actually got people paying more closer attention.
Oh, yeah.
But so that's basically been our agenda is to expose Dan Crenshaw's voting record. One last thing I want to say just really quick, because this is important. I respect and honor Dan Crenshaw's service as a Navy SEAL. There's a lot of people that seem to think, well, how can you go against a Navy SEAL? Well, I don't know. I mean, let's look at Mark Milley for a second. I mean, just because you serve in the military doesn't mean that you're right for Congress. So I respect and honor his service in our military. I don't respect his voting record in Congress. And
I wasn't a witness to any of his service, so whatever. But here's the thing: we have a culture on the right that needs to be fixed, and here's that culture: the crazy, creepy military worship. There are lots of great people in the military, tons of them. But there are also lots of terrible ones, just like any other group. So no, I don't, we've got here, John McStain, for one, says Joanne Pappas. No, the entire upper brass of the military has turned out to be a bunch of traitors. So I don't really, I like to think that spell has been broken. And Dan Crenshaw was recruited out of the Harvard School of Government Service. He is part of the whole With Honor Club, straight out of the Soros playbook, the Clinton Global Initiative. I have dug into his funding past. He was funded by by Jeff Bezos's parents. They went to the mattresses to make sure he won the primary in 2018. Freaking Bill Kristol went out of his way to make sure that he got he endorsed Dan Crenshaw. The guy is filthy in the swamp. So there's no question about the guy. And I'm not interested in saying anything about his service because I wasn't there. I'm sure it was just delightful. But the fact is that none of us has any knowledge of the particulars of his service. We just know they stuck the phrase Navy SEAL after his name. Sorry about that. Now, second question I want to ask you, and this is a big deal for me. And please don't take this in any way as me challenging you, because I'm not. This is a general thing. Voting record, schmoting record. Liz Cheney voted with Trump over 90% of the time. She was a traitor from the beginning. It wasn't her voting record that revealed her. It was actions other than her voting record. her actions that involved turning against the people of the United States. Dan Crenshaw did the exact same thing. Other than his very anodyne vote against Donald Trump's veto of the National Defense Authorization Act, he was actually pretty solidly with Trump on his voting record. And he'll come out and say some bullshit like, hey, I voted with Trump 93% of the time, blah, blah, blah. That's not what it is. The question is, when it counts, it's not his vote. It's like Ted Cruz in the Senate saying, January 6th was a terrorist attack, turning on us just at the right moment, because that's what these creeps do, because they're bought and paid for. So the question I have to ask to you, like everybody else, what is it about you that makes you impossible to buy?
Well, I mean, I think I said it already in the very beginning. I'm very transparent. I'm very open. I'm not trying to hide my mistakes. I'm also, as far as I know, I'm also the only candidate that actually says, don't believe a word I say, because that's part of the problem, right? It's really easy. You get someone that's a good speaker, and they can get in front of a camera or get on a stage, and they can tell you what you want to hear. And then you vote for them to go to Congress to represent you. And then they do the exact opposite. And I tell people, meet me one-on-one. Like, invite me into your homes and look me in the eye and know that I am who I say I am, and then trust that gut feeling. It's just too easy for any of us to just lie. And so I love meeting with people one-on-one, two-on-one, in small group settings. What we like to do, what we call Huckleberry House parties, which is what we call them. That's one of my gimmicks, if you will. I'm your Huckleberry because Tombstone's one of my favorite movies. And so I can't be bought, because there's nothing for them to hang over my head. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know if that really answers your question or not.
Here's the thing. Number one, I believe you. Number two, there's no way to know until you actually go to Washington, which is why we need to cycle these people out as quickly as possible. Just get them out of there, get them in there for their 2 years, 4 years, or whatever, and then just next. And so they don't spend enough time in there letting the perverse, toxic culture of DC infiltrate them. Because I genuinely think a great many of our representatives and senators go to Washington, D.C. with very pure intentions. And then God knows what happens up there. You get an offer you can't refuse. You get drugged at a party and they take photos of you with God knows what. Bam, they own you. It's just like in The Godfather Part 2.
Well, and that's a big reason why having safeguards in place is so important. And and coming from a place of ministry, I know how important it is to have safeguards in place. I know how important it is to make sure that you have accountability, and that's something that a lot of people don't want nowadays. They don't want accountability. They don't want to answer to anybody else for their actions, and that's something that I welcome in my life. I welcome the accountability. I want someone to kick me in the butt and to say, you're better than this. Like, you knew better. What are you doing? Right. And so I welcome that into my life. And so you can bet your butt that there's going to be safeguards in place. And the other thing is, I'm not going to spend any more time in the swamp than I need to be. I'm going to be there to cast my votes, do what I need to do. But then I'm coming back here. I tell people all the time, I'm a 5th generation Texan, was born here, raised here, and I plan on dying here. So pray for me when I go to the swamp, because I know I've already got a target on my back.
Let me ask you a couple questions about Texas politics. Who are you supporting for governor?
Not ready to release that yet. I can tell you that there's 3 candidates, and it's not Abbott.
I mean, that's good enough. I'm a Huffines guy, but I'm kind of maybe Prather, I guess. I don't know. They're all great. I love them all.
I will tell you. I will tell you this. Okay, Chad Prather is a political outsider, and he is a lot smarter than anybody thinks he is. As I've gotten to know Chad, and I've gotten to have conversations with him, I can tell you that he knows. And pardon me for saying it this way, I hope I don't get in trouble, but he knows his shit.
Yeah,
he knows his stuff.
Yeah, we cut here. It's okay.
He is smart, a lot smarter than people give him credit for.
It's awesome. I've really enjoyed. Alan West is a great guy. Don Huffines has been saying the things I need to hear, and I don't know if he's going to do them, but he seems very genuine to me. And
if you look at his voting record in the Senate,
Yeah.
He's got a near perfect voting record in the state Senate. So he's got that proven
Okay.
track record, right? So
Nice. One thing I liked about Chad Prather is when the criminal Abbott signed that illegal order telling every Texan that they had to wear a face diaper. That was the day that Chad Prather came out and said, "I'm running for governor," and I really appreciated that. So it would be really nice. What about Lieutenant Governor Aaron Sorrells? Let me guess.
yeah, Aaron Sorrells has my full endorsement.
That's awesome. Because I was listening to him last night. I loved how angry he got when everybody was. Guys, it's very important to note that in a lot of ways, Washington is kind of dead to me. I would love to send somebody other than Dan Crenshaw. And by the way, I'm in District 38, so shit, I can't vote for you, but I can certainly. I don't even know who my congressman is now, so isn't that great? So anyway, it was Dan Crenshaw, so now it's not. But what you're going to go up to Washington and do is just vote no on a whole bunch of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Pretty much. I tell people all the time, I'm not going to Washington to write new legislation, right? We have to get out of this mindset that we need to write we have too much legislation, right?
Okay.
The government is supposed to be limited. Their two main functions are to protect our unalienable God-given rights and to secure our borders. That's it. I've had this conversation with Aaron on several occasions that it makes zero sense to me that a U.S. congressman gets to make $174,000 a year, but lieutenant governor of Texas only makes, I think it was $9,600 a year,
Whoa!
which is so backwards. It's so backwards.
I didn't know it was that little. What about the governor?
Oh, it's bad. Well, the governor actually makes a pretty decent salary. Lieutenant governor, not so much.
And the lieutenant governor, and that's the most powerful position in Texas, more powerful than the governor in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Guys, our lieutenant governor in Texas, for those of you not in Texas, the lieutenant governor also basically decides what gets voted on in Congress. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
He basically decides what legislation gets considered. It's an incredibly powerful position.
And it's basically a half executive, half legislative position. And I'll be straight up with you. Again, I'm not really a politician, but I've learned about some of this stuff from my cousin Wes Friedel, as well as from Aaron Sorrells, and so it's been interesting getting to learn politics on the state level. But I can tell you that if we want to protect the sovereignty of the Republic of Texas, then we have to make sure we send good people to Washington that's going to help limit the federal government.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your plan for defeating somebody with a cajillion dollars in the bank? What has he got, like $4 million of cash on hand or something?
Yeah, he's got 4.2 million cash on hand. Last I checked, I think that was last week. So we've been running a very principled campaign. I'm going to be very, very careful what I mention here because I do want to be strategic. Don't want to give away too much, but I don't mind telling you that we're not trying to expose Dan Crenshaw per se. I don't care what he does in his personal life. That's liberty, right? He can do whatever he wants, so long as it doesn't infringe on the life, liberty, and property of others. But it's his voting record. And that is important to me. His voting record and his actions, which I've got a list of all of them. So the reason why his voting record is important to me, and I'll speak to this really quick when it comes to Trump, is that I knew exactly what I was getting with Trump. I knew that Trump wasn't a true blue through and through constitutional conservative the way that I am. I knew that. I still like the guy, right? I didn't agree with all of his votes. But he's what America needed. He's what America still needs. But I will say this, MAGA isn't about one man. MAGA is about us. It's the movement. Now he might have struck the match, but that match is what lit the fire under for all of our butts. And so MAGA is not one man. It's each and every one of us. But the voting record for someone who claims to be a representative of Texas values, no, Dan Crenshaw's voting record is not on par. And then whenever you look at his actions, it's like saying one thing and doing another. People are so focused on his right hand because Republican that they're not even looking at what his left hand is doing, and it's just completely like out here. And because he's a good speaker, well, I won't get into that. Let me get back around to answering your question. So we're running a very principled campaign. We are wanting to expose his voting record and his actions, and we're meeting more and more and more pro-liberty patriots, people that maybe a year and a half ago might not have come out, but are now out in droves, and they're pissed off. And so it's just about getting our message out there, and then forming those relationships with people, meeting with them one-on-one, doing these Huckleberry House parties. We've got some meet and greets we're getting ready to announce, just getting out there in the community, and then also making myself available as much as I can, which has become more and more difficult as, I guess, support has grown for our campaign. It's become increasingly difficult, but that's really what we're all about, just running a principled campaign, and we find that message is really resonating with constituents.
Hey, Jameson, thank you so much for coming on the show. Let me just give everybody a quick how you donate to the Jameson Ellis campaign. Texas Congressional District 2. And as far as contribution, you just go to the website and you click on contribute. Can you tell them a little bit about are you still doing that thing with I should have blown this up.
The AR-15?
Yeah. Are you still doing that?
Yes, I've actually caught some flack for it, saying, "Oh, it's a gimmick." Well, hey, I mean,
I love gimmicks. Tell them about your gimmick.
People love it. So we're doing we are doing a drawing for a Daniel Defense DD-M4 V7 AR-15. It is a $2,000 gun. Basically, the way that it works is for every $50 that you donate to the campaign, you're going to get an entry in the drawing. The drawing is going to take place at the end of February, right before the primaries. We do have a disclaimer. You have to be able to legally take possession of a firearm. But we wanted to ask ourselves, how can we, because, we got Dan Red Flag Crenshaw, right? So how can we really show our support for the Second Amendment while simultaneously also generating support for our campaign? And so that's what we decided to do. And so if you donate $100, you get 2 entries. If you donate $50, you get 1. And you guys can do the math. And I'm not mathing good at the moment, so I'll just keep it with that. But if you want to donate there so that you can get an entry, you can go to jamesonellis.com/pro PRO, the number 2 and A. I believe that's what it is.
Okay, /PRO 2A, bam. And
I'm waiting for it.
Let me make sure I pull that up. Oh, it takes you. Okay, never mind. Okay, so new link, guys. Bam, there it is. So that's awesome. Sometimes that site. I was just about to donate $50 because I wanted to be in the raffle, and then I got sidetracked, and I've now been reminded that I need to donate $50 to get me in that raffle. So everybody, those of you in Congressional District 2, obviously just don't vote for Crenshaw, and definitely consider supporting Jameson Ellis in the primary. And those of you who are interested in entering that raffle, definitely check that out as well. It sounds pretty cool to me. Jameson, thank you so much for joining the Reading Epic Threads live stream, and I hope you'll come back soon.
I definitely will, and I appreciate you having me. One thing I want to say really quick is that it's not a raffle, right? So you can donate any amount. Okay. And so if you go to if you want to donate $10, you can do that, but it's not a raffle. Literally, every $50 you donate, we're just going to give you an entry into the drawing. So I want to make sure that I specify.
It's a drawing, guys, not a raffle. Sorry, got my terminology wrong.
Totally okay.
Jameson, thank you so much for being here. Hope to see you again soon.
It's been an honor and a privilege.
Take care. Bye.